A highly educated scholar walks around in the wilderness talking about science fiction. Who is this cool guy? Well, let's talk about him. So I stumbled across the YouTube channel Feral Historian and was surprised by the well-made content that this guy does on analyzing films, sci-fi works, and other fictional materials. The dude is so well-spoken and articulate in that he is able to give us these short yet great video essays while walking in the mountains of, I believe, Wyoming, which is where I believe he is at. I'm not exactly sure, but maybe. I feel Feral Historian probably watched a lot of videos from Peter Zeihan walking in the mountains of Colorado talking about geopolitics and got the idea of making his videos in a similar style. I'm joking, of course, but if Feral Historian is watching this video, please let me know if you watch a lot of Peter Zeihan's videos or are even interested in his channel. I feel that Feral Historian would be interested in Peter Zeihan's geopolitical content. The way I discovered Feral Historian's channel was watching his review and analysis of the somewhat unknown miniseries America, which was broadcast on ABC in 1987. I had never heard of this series and find the plot of the show very fascinating. Set in an alternate 1997, America has been bloodlessly taken over by the Soviet Union and turned the United States into a totalitarian communist regime. Basically, the miniseries is more of a toned-down version of Red Dawn, which Feral Historian also did an analysis video on. This video is a quintessential example of an essay that goes over the important plot points, small details, and characters without me having to waste my time watching the show itself. That's why I love when I discover these types of analysis channels, in that they can discuss the material without me having to be too familiar with it or even needing to watch whatever show or movie it is. The video itself is adequate enough for me to learn about the story and to be interested in it. While the series of America sounds interesting in its concept of a Soviet-controlled United States, even Feral Historian is honest when he talks about how janky, boring at times, corny, and poorly made the series can be, while still having interesting elements present within the show. Another great video from this channel is Troopers, Trek, and Empire, where he looks at the Terran Federation from Starship Troopers, the Galactic Empire from Star Wars, and the Federation from Star Trek, and sees if these regimes can be appropriately called fascist. I've always found Starship Troopers a fascinating story, as I did a review of the book on this channel. I noticed many other similar type channels have discussed how the Terran Federation was definitely a fascist state, but I think Feral Historian goes into a lot more detail and talks about what fascism truly is and what states can be appropriately called fascist and what nations don't qualify as being called fascist. In his ranking of each regime, he discusses how many times people who tend to be left-wing have a misunderstanding of fascism and falsely label people or countries as fascist because they have a surface-level understanding of the political philosophy and see anybody who is racist, nativist, xenophobic, or ultra-nationalistic as being fascist. It is really a great video as he goes through the list of what qualifies the state being fascist and applies them to these fictional governments. By doing so, he better educated me on what's required for a state to be called fascist in the first place and made me more fascinated with political philosophy. See, I don't have that much understanding of political philosophy, even with as much educational YouTube I watch, as I'm still pretty ignorant of the various forms of governments and political systems, as I was homeschooled and I only went to community college for 1 year in Nashville, and I didn't really get a proper education on these subjects. So I love it when I come across channels that seem to be great substitutes for that. In this case, with Feral Historian discussing and analyzing these films, he gets me thinking about what is really fascism, or what really is corporatism, what other forms of authoritarianism and totalitarianism are there. He does this just by discussing sci-fi and fantasy shows, movies, games, and novels he enjoys. This is where I feel he is distinct from many other analysis channels. YouTube really is inundated with all these types of analysis channels that might go into detail about the philosophy present in films and TV shows, but there are many times which I've noticed where these YouTubers are either not giving unique opinions and interpretations on certain media, or they feel they sort of copied their scripts, video styles, and presentations from other creators because they understand how the algorithm works and what type of videos get the most views. I mean, this can be applied to a lot of review channels as well that don't give interesting takes on movies and feel pretty samey in their opinions as they just want to get a lot of views and more subscribers. Shoot, you can say the same thing about my channel, as I try to really give my best opinion on certain movies and TV shows I enjoy, and hopefully people will like my takes on certain media. That's where Feral Historian is different though. He's well spoken, highly educated, as he has stated that he is a scholar, and not only analyzes films but does deep dives and explores sci-fi stories that most people, including me, are just unaware of. One of his best series of videos I thoroughly enjoyed was him discussing the domination of the Draka novels. Wow, I have never heard of this series before, and I'm really interested in reading the books now after watching the videos. Set in an alternate timeline, the world of the series focuses on the Draka, a totalitarian and expansionist nation founded in southern Africa by British settlers in the 18th century, where they develop into a militaristic, slave-owning society controlled by a hereditary plantation aristocracy. While originally slaves were black Africans and citizenship was open to all whites, over time the Draka began to see themselves as the master race, with all non-Draka as threats to be subjugated regardless of race. Draka technology is shown to progress rapidly, and their military equipment is several decades ahead of their opponents. Seeing every other nation and race as a threat to them, they begin to conquer the world over the course of a century. Again, like I said earlier, this is a great example of a video wonderfully exploring and summarizing some form of science fiction without me being familiar with it and making me interested in that material. The world, the technology, and the events of these novels is something I wish I could have written myself, and now I gotta find copies of these books or a suitable audiobook to listen to. The way Feral Historian explains the world and technology of the Draka is so engaging, and listening to him never gets boring. I feel the dude has a great, deep voice and would work well as an audiobook narrator or even as a voice actor. Because of his distinct voice, way of speaking, and generally the style of his videos, I think there are only a few other YouTubers I can really compare him to. Of course, these are YouTubers I'm aware of. If there are similar channels like Feral Historian, please feel free to comment in the comment section down below, informing me of other YouTubers who make similar style videos. But with that said, the major channel that reminds me of Feral Historian is Collative Learning by Rob Ager. I've been subscribed to Ager's channel for many years now. Actually, I've probably been subscribed to him for over a decade. I enjoy his unique analysis of films, especially a lot of his analysis videos of classic films, as he tends to look into and spot the psychological themes present within movies. Because of his background in psychology, he mainly focuses on seeing the underlying psychological and subliminal messages present in films from the past, while at times also analyzing the political and spiritual philosophy present in said movies. I have done a not so thorough review of his channel before, but yeah, besides the fact that Rob tends to analyze media slightly differently, I find so many similarities between Collative Learning and Feral Historian. I don't know what it is, it's just me, it just might be just me. Let me know if you guys think there are similarities between the two in the comment section below, and whether you like Collative Learning or not. Overall, Feral Historian makes simple enough videos that are truly a delight to watch. He just goes out into the wilderness and, I quote from him directly, he talks to the trees and rocks about science fiction and its place in historical study. Most of his videos don't have any background music, as this is a wise choice to limit distractions, and the audio in his videos is actually quite decent considering that he is walking and sitting on hilltops at times with like gusts of wind blowing right at him. I just really enjoy that aspect of his videos being outdoors. It's really better to see videos where a person is talking about political philosophy with the absolute most beautiful mountains and hills of the western United States behind that person. The locations are just an added bonus and improve the quality about his content. Every time I see Feral Historian walking on trails, I kind of want to do something similar, as I'm here in northern Colorado and only occasionally go to some walking trails, filming shots near and around Boulder, Colorado. Maybe my videos could improve as well, as I film myself walking and talking with beautiful scenery in the background. I don't know, maybe I should learn a thing or two from Feral Historian. So in conclusion, I'm really glad I came across this hidden gem of a channel, as it really deviates from the usual content that I'm seeing on my YouTube recommendations. Now, if I were to give a Rotten Tomatoes style type score for Feral Historian's channel, I would say I'd give him a solid 90%. His videos are of great quality, his analysis is truly educational, the location where he films are absolutely beautiful, and his exploration of unknown media is truly fascinating to listen to. So, there you go. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to Feral Historian's channel. As of the making of this video, his channel has over 2,000 views and is growing. Please just check him out, as I highly recommend his channel. And in the future, I might talk about Peter Zion and his channel, with him also walking and talking in the beautiful Rocky Mountains. I'll maybe do it. I'm kind of thinking about it. But anyways, I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Please check out Feral Historian's video channel and videos, as you would really like them. And as always, like I say, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.